The college football experience, Ball State Cardinals 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. We're also brought to you by Bird Dog Shorts. Yes, the world's greatest shorts are hooking you up with a free Yeti style tumbler when you order at birddogs.com/pool. Once again, that's birddogs.com/pool. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Ball State Cardinals 2023 season preview, baby. You know I love Maxie. You know I love Ball State. Patty C's been a closet Ball State fan for a long time. We're going to talk all about it because they were good to him, on Maction Wacky Tuesdays and Wednesdays in November. But look, first you might just be wondering, you're tuning in for the first time saying, who the hell am I listening? Who's the bozo talking on the microphone? Well, look, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Yes, that's what happens when you lose a game. Pretend like it never happened. Get along with your life. Move forward, baby.
Right. Short memory. Like
short memory. That's football, baby. You need a short memory. I'm excited, man. I love Maction. It's one of the more beautiful things. I almost wish they would do the Tuesday, Wednesday the whole year. I know you can't do it the whole year. You got to have homecoming. You got to have some traditions. But I just love tuning in on a Tuesday.
I think they're doing it pretty close to right now.
I think they probably are too. I'm probably full of it. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former James Madison Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's get that Tecmo Super Bowl music going. All right, Ohio knows football, baby. All right.
It's almost like I'm saying Ohio every time I say that. I'm sending reps.
Yeah, let's go, man. Let's take us. I know, but the MAC I feel like is in Ohio.
It's an Ohio-based conference for sure.
Muncie, Indiana. You're not going to get Muncie out in the middle of nowhere. Patty C.
I hope not.
Luckily, we are joined. This is awesome to me. This is like I'm honored to have this guy on the show. He is the host of the CSC podcast, which is all Maction all the time. Woo. Yes, you need to be subscribed. I give you Alex Scheer. How you doing, Alex? I'd appreciate you hopping on to talk a little Ball State Cardinal football.
Dude, I got to tell you guys, this is awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity. Let's chop it up. Chirp, chirp, baby. Maction, I'm all for it. Let's do this.
Let's go. And look, I mean, this guy, he does a podcast covering the MAC and not just one team, all of the MAC, baby. And you can see it. If you're watching, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience, you'll see his screen. He's got a MAC flag in the back, and there's Toledo gear, Bowling Green gear. He's got it all. He's doing. This is beautiful to me. Yeah. This is beautiful because they don't get enough coverage, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's been hard for me to appreciate the MAC. It's still a little hard for me to appreciate the MAC, but I'm
coming at it.
It's not that I dislike it at all. It's just that it's not regional to me, and it's so competitive. Like that should be a good thing. But usually as a fan, you want to be able to say, okay, I understand what's going on. Here's the pecking order. And then, within that, there's little movements. Then you can see a team progressing up and down. The MAC is a freaking a cluster every year, but I have come to appreciate that because you just have to gravitate toward a team for whatever reason and then, follow it. But the whole thing, just watching them compete year in, year out, it's fun to watch.
Look, you could argue the Toledo Rockets have been the blue blood of that conference. I mean, when Fleck was at Western Michigan, they were looking pretty good. You can go one by one. I mean, believe it or not, Nick Saban and Urban Meyer once coached in this conference. So there's a lot of great history in the MAC, and I'm excited to talk Ball State. By the way, look, I didn't even do this, Patty C. Ball State, in my opinion, national champions twice in their existence, 1965 and 1978. We are a publication, so you can now put that up on your stadium somewhere. So, yes, there we go. Look, Alabama's got ones that are from like a town of like 300 people's newspaper.
Yeah,
that they claim
the back.
So
of a
the way
box.
the way I see it, and they claim that and they use that to their recruiting advantages. Ball State, we just gave you it. All right. We are part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We are here in the studio right now, Los Angeles, California. We have over 30 podcasts. All right. We got articles dropping every day. Run with that.
We're
hey,
the
Muncie, run with
press,
that. Let's go.
Yeah. Kind of associated, but
so Mike Neu is the head coach of the Ball State Cardinals. I'm old enough to remember him playing quarterback for the Ball State Cardinals. 33-48 in 7 years. Before we jump into this, does that seem a little hot? Is that seat a little hot, you think? Or is it just like, hey, this guy's one of us. He's got a little bit of a pass. What do you think, Alex?
That's a great question. Honestly, you look at what Ball State has done. Everybody looks back to their 2020 season, the year of the COVID championships, the Mickey Mouse championships, as everybody calls them. and I remember sitting in that stadium for that 2020 MAC championship where they decimated Buffalo. They went on to beat San Jose State out west in the Arizona Bowl. That was a 7-1 Ball State team that the cards just fell the right way for them. I don't think this seat is that warm. I think it's getting a little warm, but last year they had to break in a new quarterback. This year they're breaking in a new quarterback. They lost Carson Steele to UCLA in the transfer portal, bringing in Marquez Cooper.
Yes,
from
I'm
Kent State.
super excited about Carson Lexington Steele. We call him Carson Lexington Steele because this guy, he's Fabio on the football field. He was one that it was near and dear to our hearts at SGPN. I feel like I actually contacted him to come on the show and he ghosted me, but still, we still love him. We still love him. And
he follows us. I'll tell him I'll put in a good word for you.
Oh man,
there we go. Yeah, there we go. He's out here in LA. We can have him come by the studio. All right?
Exactly. See, a lot warmer there than it is here. So, but I don't think the seat's that warm. Honestly, I think because he's got the pedigree. Of course, we thought this about Tim Lester 2 years ago at Western Michigan, former MAC quarterback, played, broke a lot of records at Western Michigan, was runner-up for MAC Player of the Year to Chad Pennington, who, by the way, his son is now going on recruiting trips. Wow. I think he just committed to Marshall, actually. So there's a little fun tidbit for you. So, yeah, I mean, we thought the same thing with Tim Lester, and then they fired him after he beat Toledo this last year. So I guess anything could happen. Ball State has a hit or miss history. They don't have a lot of MAC championships. I think him winning the 2020 championship and finishing the season ranked bought him a little more time, but he's got to do something this year.
Yeah, I think it's a big year in Muncie. We're going to talk all about it.
Look, last 4 years, 23 and 22. What are the expectations at Ball State?
Well, Brady Hunt was doing some things there, right?
Yeah,
they got two natties I just gave away. You know what I mean? There we go. Look, we're going to talk all about it, but I want to tell you that the college football experience, Ball State Cardinals season previews, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Yeah. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be an extremely valuable tool. I mean, imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down, perhaps, on some of your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months. Double down, perhaps, on a bet you like, a favorite bet you like, or maybe create an awesome middle or even hedge, even though we here at SGPN, we don't do that stuff. But Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark that's going to break your kneecaps, all right? That's what's beautiful about gambling. And I would argue A lot of people say, "Oh, gambling is terrible. Look at the Alabama baseball team. Look at Iowa State." No, we caught them. That means the system is working. All right. And you know what else is working? You not dying or getting your legs broken from the guy you owe money to. All right.
Yeah, catch a bad break.
Yeah. Paulie 2 times in the alley isn't there with the lead pipe ready to beat you down. All right. Let me tell you, Edge Boost offers 0% interest. Zero. This is a great deal. This is a great deal we got going here. I repeat, 0% interest. They're not over. They're not just trying to get over on you. They're just saying, hey, boom, this is an easy way to do this. Edge Boost.
Go win some money. We'll collect our little bit off of that, but we're not even hitting you with the interest.
Yes, not even hitting you with the interest.
That's a good friend, right?
It is a good friend. And look, the Edge Boost can be part of a responsible gambling plan, as you can set up daily, weekly, monthly limits across all your accounts in one place. All right. Support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Once again, to sign up, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Probably gambling. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. We are back on the college football experience, Ball State Cardinal preview. And Patty C, you're saying, I didn't mean to cut you off. We just had to crowbar that in. Edge Boost deserves to be talked about. And you're saying, well, what do they want? So you think if you are the athletic director in Muncie, you're saying, no, this is one of our own. All right. Even if you got some David Letterman cash, you're saying no. You're saying keep Mike Neu. Right.
I'm trying to do some quick math here. I think they have a winning record in conference. They do have a winning record in conference over the last 4 years. If you are winning within your conference and you are winning overall, and including out of conference, when you have to go play Big Ten teams in your non-conference slate, I think you're happy with that. I think you should be. I don't think you should expect 8-9 win seasons every year.
I don't think it's big. I think it's SEC teams.
Oh yeah,
they seem to come into the MAC. They seem to come into the MAC. So I guess that's kind of it's kind of a make or break year. I don't know. We've seen before, and you brought up Tim Lester, but we have seen before where they've been patient because it's one of their own. Maybe I guess it depends on who knows the scenario inside the university, but it is either way. You would say at least. If they have a bad year, the next year the seat's got to be really hot. You would imagine.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about that, right, is last year Ball State played 8 one-score games. They finished 5-7, including their last game against Miami, where they lost by a point to go bowling. So this is a team who was really, really close after getting blasted by Tennessee, a game that we actually attended, 59-10. First off, big shout out to Tennessee fans. Neyland Stadium is incredible. Great environment, 115 billion degrees, but worth it because just a great environment. They do football right down there in the SEC.
I've been to that stadium. It is fantastic. Did you go in Ball State attire?
I did. I'll send you guys the picture. I was wearing our podcast hat and a Ball State t-shirt. I've got a selfie of me right at the field. You better believe. And then the next 2 nights later, I went to Miami, Ohio at Kentucky. So they do football right down in the SEC.
This guy, he's amazing.
Represent.
You're already winning us over. All right, I'm going to key in on the transfer portal. We always try to grade. Well, we don't always. 5 years ago, we were doing the show. The transfer portal. It looks crazy these days when you do a team. Now you got to grade the transfer portal. But this is one that's kind of compelling because John Paddock, who had been the backup for so long, got the starting job a year ago. He heads off to the Fighting Illini, where I think he's actually going to back up there. But maybe, I guess camp, who knows? We'll find out.
Challenge for it.
And then Carson Steele, as we alluded to, is at UCLA. Shout out to him. And he's with Chip Kelly, and we're trying to get him in the studio. So hit us up, Carson. And then defensive tackle Justin Ramsey goes to Indiana State. Sycamores, right up the road. They're going to be playing each other. A little bad blood going on. I like this. You're going to the rival. Incoming transfers, man. They definitely brought in more than they lost. And there's a few other names, by the way, that are departures, but they haven't landed anywhere. I don't know if they're substantial, and they could always jump back. We've seen that so many times. So incoming transfers, though, long snapper Tucker Dunn from the Colgate Raiders, Patty C. They've beaten James Madison Dukes in the past 5 years, I think it was, or 6. I don't know, something like that. Safety Al-Jarik Mulry. I'm probably butchering your name. I apologize if so. He comes in from VMI. VMI, not a horrible program. Last year was tough, but the year before they were good. Mm-hmm. Safety D.D. Snyder comes in from the Fighting Illini. So they did a little trade. They're like, you give us John Paddock, we'll give you D.D. Snyder. I like this.
Losing your starting quarterback is usually a loss in that trade.
I would argue here. Look, I'm going to get to it, but defensive lineman Makari Siblis comes in from Lehigh, the Mountain Hawks. Offensive lineman Jonathan Tarango comes in from Sacred Heart. Offensive tackle. Offensive tackle Luke Wigginton comes in from the Indiana Hoosiers down in Bloomington. And then you get wide receiver Ty Robinson coming in from the Colorado Buffaloes, and then running back Charlie Spiegel from the Indiana Hoosiers as well. And then the big one, as you alluded to earlier, Alex, running back Marquez Cooper from Kent State. This guy was a stud if you watch Kent State football, well, over the past couple of years, I believe. And quarterback Layne Hatcher from Texas State. People don't know this, but Layne Hatcher was once an Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback. Then this guy's been all around the world. All right.
When you're a 3-star at Alabama, you're not seeing the playing field from the quarterback position. So understandable that he left.
But no, this guy's got he's on the Stetson Bennett plan where you've been in college 35 years. Cause yes, back in 2019, he threw 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Mm-hmm. Then in 2020, 19 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, Patty C. Unbelievable. When he was with the Arkansas State Red Wolves. And then once again, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions in 21. And then last year he's at Texas State, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I think you can make the argument they got better at quarterback. Am I crazy, Alex?
So I don't think you're crazy. I think this is actually, I don't want to say this is an improvement, but this is a guy who has experience starting versus last year, right? John Paddock had the impossible task of replacing Drew Plitt. Drew Plitt is, holds so many records in that program. He's a storied quarterback. He's a very well decorated quarterback. You've tried to fill those shoes, and your first game is against Tennessee. Your first throw in that Tennessee game is a pick six. It's
I remember.
you set yourself up, for every possible situation you can. But that is not how you want to start your tenure as a starting quarterback. That being said, I think Layne Hatcher brings a lot more to the table. Obviously, he understands how to read multiple defenses. He's done it for how many years now. He has over 10,000 passing yards, 84 passing touchdowns in his college career. This is a guy who can sling the ball. He can get it to his receivers. But I don't think that he is going to be this huge game changer, but he's going to be a game manager, which is what Ball State needed last year.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a pretty big get. I would say I know they lost Carson Steele, who was a beast, and John Paddock. I still think they won the portal, if that makes sense, because you bring in Marquez Cooper, who I know is a completely different style of running back, by the way, than Carson Steele. But I think they got better at quarterback. You could argue the running back situation, but they bring in Spiegel from Indiana and Cooper. I think that could potentially mean they're better at that position. You could argue that, but I think that this getting safety D.D. Snyder from Illinois is a big get. Getting the left tackle from Indiana, Luke Wigginton. I think they won the transfer portal in the offseason. Am I crazy, Patty C? Do you think they won it?
Well, I think the Layne Hatcher thing is huge. If the safety you're talking about is going to walk in and be a starter, it's I would be lying if I said, I've followed each one of these guys super closely and was using a fine tooth comb to determine whether they rose or fell overall. Usually it's the impact players that you're looking for. Quarterback obviously being one. It seemed like Paddock did have a pretty good year, like almost 3,000 passing yards. But Hatcher, like you said, 10,000 career passing yards. That's pretty impressive for a guy who's 5'11" at 211 and listed as a dual threat quarterback. Net career negative 144 rushing yards.
That's that dual threat, right?
He's very fast at moving backwards.
He's got that Fran Tarkenton to him. I think they won it though. Alex, do you think they won that, or do you think those losses are just it's maybe a draw? What do you think?
I think running back, I would say probably a draw. I think there's a significant upgrade at quarterback. Obviously, Paddock off to Illinois. Good luck to him, of course. But I think that there is a significant upgrade at quarterback. I think the running back is a draw, not because Carson Steele wasn't effective, but because Marquez Cooper brings such a different running style to the table. You get to add a different element. You take away an element, sure, but now you get a much more finesse element to your backfield. Whereas Carson Steele, he's a bowling ball. He's just going to run right through however many people, So I think literally. I think what's going to happen though is Layne Hatcher is going to be relying a lot on tight end Brady Hunt. That is his. I think he was on the Phil Steele first team All MAC selection preseason, and this is a guy who he's only a sophomore. So I think Layne Hatcher is really going to rely on him for a lot of stuff. And this is going to be Brady Hunt's breakout year if he can get in sync with quarterback Layne Hatcher. So I think, yes, they did win.
Yeah, I think they won too. And folks, Brady Hunt, look, some people play college fantasy football. Remember we had that crazy draft a couple years ago, but folks, I think they won this thing. And I think let's take a look at the offense, because I think they might have a good thing coming this upcoming year. They got two. It seems like every school in the MAC does two offensive coordinators. I feel like Kevin Lynch, I believe, used to play quarterback. I believe at Ball State too, if memory serves me correct. Him and Jared Elliott are the offensive coordinators. They split time there. They're 98th in scoring offense a season ago, 65th in rush offense, 69th in pass offense, 70th in total offense. They only bring back 4 on offense, though. That used to be a red flag, but now the way the portal is, you're like, hey, well, they only brought back 1, but they went 11-1. But they bring back 4 on offense. 3 of them, though, on the offensive line, led by Corey Stewart at the left tackle spot, left guard Damon Kaler, and center Ethan Crow. And as Alex alluded to, tight end Brady Hunt is one of those 4 back. So they are breaking in an entirely new wide receiving core. Obviously, they're new at quarterback and running back, but we like what they brought in. The wide receiver core, I think, is the one red flag here. When I try to project how this offense will look, I see the names Nick Presley, Quan Magwood, Malcolm Gilly, but they don't have a ton of starts, so that's concerning. Do we think that will be just a plug and play thing? Is there anything that stands out to you as far as like, okay, this could be something they got going? Cause you look back from a season ago, and Jayshon Johnson had 73 catches. Yoheinz Tyler was also a key contributor to that team as well. And same with Amir Abdul Rahman. So those guys are all gone. What do you, I mean, Presley is one of their top guys back. He had 6 catches for 35 yards. So I am a bit concerned at the wide receiver position. How about yourself, Alex?
I'm very concerned about this for Ball State. The biggest key for me on offense this year, they absolutely have to be able to get the ball downfield. Everybody knows that they are going to rely on Cooper in the backfield, which he was hard to stop at Kent State. So the MAC already knows just how good he actually is. For me, I think it's very, very important that they get the ball downfield. I was looking up some stats earlier, kind of prepping for this. There's the 7-1 2020 team averaged almost 9 yards per throw. If they can do that, this is a team that, that this is an offense that can really, might shock some people, might go out and win some games. They averaged 6 yards a toss and connected on about 61% of passes a season ago. And just a vastly different thing. But I think part of that was breaking in a quarterback who had been a backup his whole career, right? Again, talking about the Drew Plitt thing. So I think, Layne is going to have a much better time, even with a younger receiving core, a much better time because he's a seasoned veteran who has in-game experience, who can read defenses, who can kind of predict how things are going to play out, versus Paddock, who, well, he didn't really have that experience. He got to do it in practice for 4 years, then finally got the opportunity to take over. But it's a much different thing. I think the offense on the receiving core going to be a lot younger, and we're going to see that against Georgia, and we're going to see that against Kentucky. But I think against Indiana State, that's going to be where they really figure it all out.
Yeah, Georgia, Kentucky on the schedule. But you guys didn't hear Ball State's a new part of the SEC in their 8-game schedule, folks. I mean, Patty C, the offense. I think it's actually. Well, I shouldn't
Paddock
say.
threw a bunch of picks last year. 14 picks. They were 13th in the nation, 13th worst in the nation in terms of total interceptions.
And that's huge right there.
Yeah.
That's huge right there.
Also penalized number 31 in the nation in terms of most penalties. So they got to fix these little like mental mistakes. But you're right. If you got a guy who's thrown for 10,000 career yards, those reps are invaluable and they will transfer to a new roster.
His name is Stetson Hatcher, by the way.
Stetson Hatcher.
Yeah.
I mean, for a team, the 65th in rushing, 69th in passing, 70th overall offense, but 98th scoring. That's 30 full spots almost. Lower than what you would project them based on their yardage. Something's not going right. Maybe some red zone picks or whatever. Get those fixed, and maybe this offense goes.
I think if they just get some decent play at the wide receiver position, I think the offense is going to be better. Yeah. And maybe it's whether it's Brady Hunt they key in on or whoever emerges at the wide receiver position. I do think the offense will be better. Let's talk about the defense though, because defense coordinator is Tyler Stockton. They were 69th in scoring defense a season ago, 104th though against the rush. That's not great. 48th against the pass, 81st in total defense. Now, how about this though? This is why I'm somewhat bullish on, or I'm convincing myself to be bullish on Ball State. Their entire front seven is back, Patty C, led by star linebacker Clayton Call. He led the team in tackles a year ago. And I mean, getting your front seven back in college football is rare. So I like what I see there. The defensive line, Tavion Woodard, Sidney Houston back. Those guys stood out from a season ago. The only thing is almost like they're almost mirror images to me in a way, because I see wide receiver position as the one question mark on offense. The defense is the secondary. Yeah. They're bringing in an entire brand new secondary. Now, yes, they bring the kid in from Illinois at safety. I imagine he's going to be a day one starter. But that's the only thing that's really concerning, I think, when you look at this defense. I think they should be better. If you told me, if I was defensive coordinator without knowing this roster, if you just told me I'm going to be a defense coordinator of a random college football team and they asked me, what would you rather have back? The last thing I would say was defensive backs. I think you'd rather have your front seven back. So that's a good thing. Alex, what do you make of this defense?
This defense was solid enough to keep, like I mentioned earlier, they played 8 1-score games. After that blowout against Tennessee, they were in the games the rest of the year. However, the run defense was a leaking sieve. Like it was almost embarrassing. The pass defense was okay, and they didn't. The biggest thing that they didn't do is have a lot of turnovers. But they did only allow 30 points once in the second half of the year. I think that returning everybody on the front line is huge. They are very, very active. They move a lot on that front line. So you get everybody back. That's huge. I think Jordan Riley is going to be huge this year for Ball State, but they've got to figure out the run defense, because that's where they lose those 1-score games. It's where you lose to Toledo. That's where you lose to Miami. You've got to win those games in the trenches, and that does include stopping the run.
Yeah, that's always tough I think I'd rather have, I don't know, I guess it's kind of a wash, but I feel like I'd rather have a good run defense and a bad pass defense. But just because I feel like you can dictate the tone of the game.
I feel like, Bud Foster made his career on getting stops on first and second down in run defense. Yeah. And then you got him at 3rd and 11. You can pin your ears back and dial up a blitz, and makes your pass defense look great. You start getting interceptions and stuff. Yeah. If they're 2nd and 3, then your run defense is going to suck and your pass defense is going to suck.
Yeah, you're 100% right. They played a lot of close games, and that's why it's a bit concerning. They're breaking in a new kicker. They do bring back punter Lucas Burrow. That could play an issue on this stuff. We're gonna go game by game on the schedule and talk about Ball State. But before we do all that, I want to tell you, we're brought to you by Bird Dogs. Yes, the college football experience is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs make you look good. All right. Bird Dogs are stretch khaki shorts that are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look like Swayze in Roadhouse or something, or Carson Steele, perhaps. Yeah. Like Carson Steele in Muncie. All right. He walks around. Yeah. Every girl's going to want to hang out with Carson Steele or Swayze. Look, Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing, but as other shorts. But guess what? They fit better. Yes, they fit better than regular shorts that are made of stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric. Holy hell, Patty C. They should be involved with the space program as far as I'm concerned. Cloud knit fabric that looks like it looks like khakis, but it stretches, so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice all the movement. Bird Dogs uses another thing that's actually amazing. They use anti-stink sweat wicking fabric. I repeat, anti-stink sweat wicking fabric. Oh my God, what is going on? It's 2023.
I'm a burrito eating kind of guy, so I could use that.
You're gonna need that anti-stink sweat fabric wicking fabric. I don't know, but it's fantastic and it keeps you cool and dry all day long. What are you doing, folks? All right. Look, we're all human, especially if you're in college. If you're one of these Ball State guys listening to this, you're there in Muncie, you can't wait for the football season. Look, a lot of times you're going out to parties, probably don't get a chance to shower, and if you do shower, you're in the dorm rooms. That's not it. That's not a shower. All right, that's just water happening.
Getting dirtier.
Yeah. So what are you doing? Put on some Bird Dogs. You're gonna smell better. People are gonna say, "Hey, I like this guy." All right. Hey, maybe Layne Hatcher should listen to this. But anyway, go to birddog.com/pool and enter the promo code POOL. That's POOL for a free Yeti style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/pool. Once again, free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We can promise you that. What's up, buddy?
You know, I thought before when the Yeti style tumbler, I was mistaking that for a romper.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were talking about because I read this on a previous episode and you go, "Oh, you like to wear your tumbler?" And I go, "Yeah." And then I went along and I was like, "What the hell is he talking about? Wear your tumbler."
A tumbler right? Is what? This is a tumbler.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that might even be Yeti style. It's beautiful, right?
You see what I did though is I didn't embarrass you.
You should
until now.
Right now,
right? And you ratted on yourself.
I was gonna say I would wear a Bird Dog. I'm the kind of guy that can pull off a romper. You know. No,
sure,
I'm not.
Sure.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Keep telling yourself that. Anyway, look, we're back. Patty C convincing himself he looks like Carson Steele. Not the case. But look, we're back talking Ball State football. And as you see here, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience, you see the sweet graphics. Shout out to Cameron Kerr, our graphics guy. Despite him being a Texas A&M Aggie alum, you know, he might be contributing to fire. He might be throwing in some money to fire Jimbo Fisher later this year. But look, if you see this graphic, you see 4.5 wins is the over under here that Vegas set. Patty C blindly. Now I haven't looked at the schedule and I know, I mean, well, I have actually,
peeked at it
blindly. I would go over, but then I remember that Georgia and Kentucky are on the schedule because Ball State is joining the SEC. And, but I still think over. I lean over just blindly. Alex, without really dialing into the schedule, I know we're about to go game by game. But would you say over?
I'm gonna say over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not just much over, but I'm gonna say over.
Yeah, just blindly, I think we would say over. Patty C, Ball State's won you a lot of money over the years. All right, that's why we call you a Ball State Cardinal fan. Are you going to stick with that? Or are you gonna?
I'm going over. 4 straight wins. 4 straight seasons over 4.5 wins.
Yeah, you gotta trust
what
that.
What are we doing here?
So let's dive into it because week 1 at Kroger Field. It's a blue light special in the end zone. All right. Shout out to all you Kroger shoppers out there. All right. Ridiculous. What they
You're talking to one, so be nice to Kroger now.
Yeah, shout out. We got Albertsons Field in Boise. We got Kroger in Kentucky. We're Safeway.
Money talks, baby.
Who's got Safeway? Let's go. They're not going to win this game, but I, you know what, man? Northern Illinois played Kentucky tough. I feel like a year ago. Maybe they can keep it close. I am trying to be nice to Ball State right now, but I do think Kentucky does this classic thing where I think they can pad. Like, I think they can appear to be better than they really are by scheduling, being in the SEC East, which is coming to an end after this year. And the fact they'll normally play 2 bad MAC schools and a FCS.
Oh yeah.
And then Louisville, who hasn't been great in most years since Bobby Petrino.
And who is their
AKA
cross?
Road Rash face. Yeah.
Who's their cross division annual rival?
Mississippi State.
Okay, so that's a winnable game.
I mean, I just feel like Kentucky's a little more like they're still good. I think Stoops is doing a great job, but I just feel like
they're not your typical.
You talk to like some of these SEC fans, they make them out. They make Kentucky out to be, like they got the 4 horsemen in the backfield. You know what I mean? And you're just sitting there like, no. I mean, you guys are all right. Still, I'm giving this one a loss. Patty, see you.
One game in their history, 8-point loss in Lexington for Ball State. I mean, they're playing good football in Kentucky. Like we said, they're not SEC blue blood by any stretch. And I think, a little local flavor here. Indiana down to Kentucky. That's a border battle, right?
That is, I believe. Yeah.
So let's get in there, Ball State, and get a W. But no, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Alex, are you going to this one since you were in Lexington last year? And B, what are you doing here? Is there a chance that Ball State could play them close?
So I'll answer both those questions. First, you guys are getting the first official announcement of our first week 1 game. I'm heading out to Illinois to watch Toledo take on the Fighting Illini.
That's great pick.
My co-host is going to be going out to, I believe it's Nebraska in the first 4 weeks to watch Northern Illinois take on the Cornhuskers. So we'll get that out of the way. You guys are the first to hear 2 of our destinations this year. So,
but I love that though, man. That's what's great about you guys is you guys are the heartbeat just of college football.
Fun,
That's
man.
why
It's so fun.
I love
that
it,
being
man.
said, no, Kentucky wins this one. You mentioned earlier about Northern Illinois played Kentucky real close last year. Miami, Ohio played Kentucky real close for the first 3 quarters. Ultimately, the defense just couldn't keep up. I think Miami, Ohio actually led that game at one point. It was 13-10 at one point, if I remember correctly. And then they just couldn't keep up. I think Kentucky, as you mentioned, not a blue blood, but they're still the SEC. They still compete against the Georgias, the Alabamas. So I think Ball State, you're getting your feet wet with a whole new offense against an SEC team. Chalk this one up for a loss for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I want to say Hatcher was at Alabama. They probably beat Kentucky, but he was in street clothes probably. But still,
hey,
he can tout that. He said, "I want to know all time against Kentucky."
Will Levis ain't walking through that door.
Yeah, Will Levis. Yeah, I wonder if Layne Hatcher puts mayonnaise in his coffee. We got back-to-back away games. That's never a fun stat when it comes to college football because normally, I haven't done the numbers for this year, but a few years ago it was absolutely astonishing the amount of teams that lost the second end of the back-to-back game. They had to Athens, Georgia, between the hedges, Sanford Stadium.
Cha-ching.
This is not good for business. This is when you collect the paycheck. And I actually think if you're the athletic department, if you're the AD of Ball State, instead of playing this game, you just ask David Letterman for more money.
See, because you say that. Hold on, I'm gonna cut you off here. You say that. Kent State last year.
That's true.
Gave Georgia
that is true.
A better game than TCU did in the national championship.
That is true. And early on, they kind of had I think it was like
Kent State was within 3 at one point.
Yeah, I want to say it was 6. Like 7-0 or something, right? Was it like
that was 3 seconds into the game?
No, I remember they threw I feel like a wide receiver screen or something. Dude broke it for like 60 yards and a touchdown. And you're sitting there like, wait, is Kent State gonna do this? But that's a fair point.
Kent State played them real tough for quite a while. And Cooper, who is now with Ball State, had 90 yards and a tutty. So I'm not saying he's going to replicate that, but he knows what Georgia looks like on defense.
Alex is saying Ball State money line's live. All right, let's go.
No. The spread. We'll do the spread.
Patty C, what are you going? You going Ball? You've been a Ball State backer for a long time, man.
Right? I am going to back the spread. I am going to back the spread. What is Georgia's coming off of a week 1 UT Martin Skyhawks game? Probably not going to be beat up after that
border battle. Yeah. Oh man. So 0-2. Yeah. And then they come back to the shoe, baby. All right. Yep. Shubin Stadium, Muncie, Indiana. This is a rivalry game. The Sycamores of Indiana State. Patty C, we watched a Indiana State game a year ago where they had North Dakota State on the ropes for a lot of that game. But Indiana State also did lose to Purdue by 56. So I would assume that we all take Ball State here. It is a rivalry game, which always makes me paranoid, and especially after you come off the body blow of playing Georgia. If you're at Indiana State, you're saying, "Hey, if there's any time you'd want to get them,
That's true.
It would be right after Georgia." But yeah, I'm on Ball State. Patty,
I mean, what if Hatcher's out? What if Hatcher gets blasted by that Georgia defense? Then look, this series is not as bad as you would think. It's their second most played rival. I wonder if there's any other FBS school whose second most played rival is an FCS school. That's an interesting dynamic there in Indiana. 38-24 all time in Ball State's favor.
Indiana State, blue collar people. Remember Larry Bird, Indiana State? How did he get injured? Not on the basketball court. He was putting a driveway in for his mother when he was a millionaire. What a great.
And he saw to the earth for sure.
That must have been an interesting phone call with the agent. Anyway, you did what? But what are you doing here, buddy?
I gotta go Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, Alex, do I even need to ask here? Is this where you just blindly take the MAC?
I'm picking the MAC, but it's something to point out. Indiana State does have the Player of the Year at quarterback for I think the Missouri Valley Conference. So that's something to keep in mind. Might have been Freshman of the Year, but at quarterback. So that's something to keep in mind. And the last time these two played back in 2014, Indiana State won this game 27-20. It's a rivalry.
But
I am going Ball State.
I'm going to go Ball State too. I do think we'll be close. Probably want to take the points on the second.
It'll be a good game for sure.
Well, week 4, Patty C. I know JMU was on the verge of looking dominant and having an undefeated season before they ran into the buzzsaw that is Georgia Southern.
We had the lead with 2 minutes left in that game. Very salty.
A loss is a loss, buddy. And Georgia Southern, Clay Helton comes over. And he had a surprisingly decent year for a team that was ditching the triple option. That's what I mean about the transfer portal. Years before, that would take, if that was 10 years ago, it would have took like 5 years for them to to work out the kinks. But you could just bring in a brand new team now. Georgia Southern comes in. They bring Davis Brennan, a quarterback from Tulsa. They're coming into Muncie, Indiana. Man, I hope Ball State wins this game, but I'm taking Georgia Southern. Alex, what are you doing here?
This one's a close one. This was a good game last year too. I believe it was 34-23 in favor of Georgia Southern down at their place. I think you got a solid group of 5 team coming into Schumann Stadium. I think Ball State, coming off the back of a victory. I think you get the crowd into it. You get the students into it. Beautiful Saturday in late September in Muncie. Nothing else to do but go to a football game and tailgate. So might as well pack the shoe, get loud, and cheer the Cardinals onto a victory. Finishing 2-2, 9
there we
conference
go.
play.
There we go. He's a company guy. Go with the MAC. No,
he's a believer, is what he is. He may be right.
Patty C, what are you doing here?
Look, Kyle Van Treese was a good quarterback, and he had mastered that. That's really what beat.
Well, he was
JMU.
on the Stetson Bennett. He was like in his 30th year.
Yeah. He
coming from the MAC, by the way, he left Buffalo. Just don't forget that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. He was made.
He knew how Ball State played.
That's right.
Now, here's the thing: Georgia Southern is coming off of this is a back-to-back road for Georgia Southern. They are in Madison, Wisconsin, at Camp Randall, which
Georgia
Southern won at Nebraska last year too. By the way,
they're a good team.
Nebraska.
That's true. Look, Davis Brin, we've commented had the biggest lawn chair play in they could have knocked Cincinnati out of the playoffs.
I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, and I'm not even a Tulsa fan. I couldn't imagine being a Tulsa fan. Folks, if you don't remember this, Davis Brin was the quarterback of Tulsa. Puts up big numbers, but they're playing Cincinnati. Could have knocked Cincinnati out of the college football playoff.
Yeah, there's like a minute left in the game.
And they could have won the AAC championship because guess what? They didn't play again because Cincinnati said they had COVID, right? But they were supposed to play again the very next week. And Davis Brin runs, so it's fourth and goal from the 1. And he slides into the end zone from like 3 yards out instead of just going in. And the college football rule, they moved the slide to when you attempt the slide. So he's down at the 1. They lose because he slides. It was look, with all due respect to Davis Brin, that was one of the more cowardly plays I've ever seen. Like, come on, you're playing football. You're about to knock off a top 10 team. What are you doing? You can't slide. All right. I should take Ball State just for that, but no, I'm taking Georgia Southern because I believe in the culture down there in Statesboro. But Good to note. That's a good note. That's a good note right there. All right. And then we have Waldo Stadium. They hit the road, another back-to-back away. And that's one thing I will notice about this schedule for Ball State is they have 3 sets of back-to-back away games. Mac doing them no favors. They go to Waldo Stadium. Watch and by the way, hit up Waldo's for the liquor pitchers after there's a bar called Waldo's right outside of Waldo Stadium. NC Nick, who's not here on this episode today, he raves about it. He raves about those liquor pitchers. They go to Kalamazoo, though. First year coach in Kalamazoo. I think I got to give the edge, even though it is at Waldo Stadium, to Ball State here. Alex, what are you doing?
Western
and
Michigan's
Alex, let me jump real quick.
Go for it.
I'm gonna take your lead on this. So you're kind of dictating my pick here. I'm gonna lean on your expertise here.
Go for it.
Yeah.
The for me, Western Michigan, this is an opportunity for their coach to get their first conference victory. You want to get those out of the way early. This is a coach who understands college football. I've been kind of keeping an eye on what Western Michigan's done. They do lose Sean Tyler in the backfield. That sucks. Sean Tyler, one of the best runners in the conference a year ago, really the last couple years. So you lose Sean Tyler, but I do think that what he's building up there is different culturally than what Tim Lester did, different than what PJ Fleck did. And I think that's the beauty of the MAC is everybody's doing something different. Western Michigan makes this a 1-score game, but Ball State takes it.
Oh, I like it. And he's referring to Lance Taylor, the new head coach of Western Michigan, who came over. He was most recently the offensive coordinator of Louisville. So Patty C,
like I said,
Ball State. You're a Ball State guy anyway, buddy.
Yeah, that's right.
You got that label just because you
Cardinals.
Yeah, there you go. So I got him now sitting there at 2-3. You got him at 3-2, Alex. You got him at 2-3, Patty C. Back-to-back away though. They head to Eastern Michigan to take on my Eagles.
Chris Creighton.
And the city that I always struggle to pronounce, Ypsilanti.
There you did it. There you go.
How many YouTube comments did I get at people calling me an idiot? I appreciate those comments. And look, I will prove them correct again at some point. Look, I'm kind of bullish on this Eastern Michigan team this year. I think they have a shot at winning the MAC. I think they lose at this awesome stadium where they have the great turf. Don't adjust your televisions. It makes it look like you're watching like Army Navy in 1944. All right. So give me Eastern Michigan to get the win. Patty C, what are you doing here?
I have to agree with you. Eastern Michigan, 9-4 last year.
Chris Creighton. How come no one's calling Chris Creighton? Yeah. Look, I like him at Eastern Michigan though. I'm not suggesting I don't want to see him at a Power 5. I'm just saying I think he's a very good football coach. What are you doing?
I'm definitely going Eastern Michigan. I heard you refer to Ypsilanti as a factory, Alex. Is that a reference to the stadium of Yeah, it does look like a 1940s factory.
It's all that concrete and just that that steel look, and its nickname is the factory. So a little fun.
Yeah. Jimmy Hoffa's buried at the 20-yard line. You didn't know that?
I feel like I heard something. No, wait.
I'm messing with you.
No, where is Jimmy Hoffa?
Where's Jimmy Hoffa? I think they've been asking that question.
He's at the 24-yard line. Get it right.
Yeah. Alex, what are you doing here in Ypsilanti?
This was a close game last year down in Muncie. It was 20-16, and I really it was a surprising defensive battle. I think Eastern Michigan's going to go through their own growing pains here in this season because they're breaking in new quarterbacks. They've lost a lot of guys, backups, granted, but they've lost a lot of guys to the transfer portal. Yes, 9-4 a year ago. I think, and they were even a play from beating Toledo to go to be MAC West champions. I think Eastern Michigan probably wins this one at home, but again, this is going to be another 1-score game. It's going to be a late turnover is what's going to do Ball State in.
Chris Creighton, the king of the 1-score games. I feel like
excellent.
But I just feel like every game he's ever coached in has been a 1-score game. So I can only imagine if you were like a diehard EMU fan. Like they're my MAC school, but I'm not a diehard. I could only imagine the roller coaster. But after all those years of being terrible, you take it. You take it, baby. So he's got EMU, Patty. See, I got EMU. So that means he's still got Ball State with one more win than myself and you. Now they head back to Schumann Stadium, but guess what? They play the reigning champs of the MAC, the Toledo Rockets. Wasn't this a close game a year ago?
It's been a close game for several years.
Yeah, I mean, you get them at the shoe, but I got to take Toledo. I trust Toledo's culture a little bit more than Ball State's, but it would not shock me if Ball State got this done. I got to take. This is a tough schedule though, because they get the back-to-back aways, and then the way that these are aligned when you come home, getting Indiana State, and then on the first set of back-to-back away, who's a rival, and then you get the best team in the MAC when you come home to or the reigning champ of the MAC. Alex, what are you doing here?
The last 3 years, it's been a 10-point or less game. The last time it was any sort of blowout was in 2019, 52-14 in favor of the Cardinals. Toledo leads the series all time 26-21-1. I'm picking the Rockets, not because I'm a Rocket, but because I do think they just have the most complete. You look at what they did. They didn't really lose anybody in the transfer portal. They lost a few guys, but they returned their whole offensive line, including guys who were injured a year ago. They returned starting quarterback DeQuan Finn. They returned most of their receiving core. They returned almost all the defense. Like, this is a team who Toledo could really have a breakout year this year. So I'm going the Rockets this season.
I agree. Patty C, what are you doing here?
No, I haven't worked with Alex enough to know whether that's just a straight homer take on the situation, or if he's got a really obviously.
He did go to the University of Toledo, folks, so take that with a grain of salt. Patty C still thinks JMU is going to win the national championship. So,
but it does sound like, based on that description, Toledo's got a lot.
It was honest. It was honest.
It was honest. Yeah. Straightforward. Muncie's tough place to play. Maybe revenge on the mind. But I'm leaning Rockets here too.
This is crazy.
Last year's game was 28-21. Ball State almost won it. Carson Steele had 3 rushing touchdowns in that game. Like, Carson Steele literally said, "Ball State, come on, I'm going to take you to the end zone 3 times."
And they still couldn't get it done.
And they were, I mean, it's one of those that, I think Ball State's got, revenge on the mind, but I think Toledo's going to be a little bit more finessed because they're not breaking in a new offense. So I've got to give the advantage to the Rockets here.
Yeah, so I got them sitting there. Man, I got them still at 2 and 2 and what is it? 2 and 5.
I thought you had them getting 3. I don't know. Maybe
I had them beating Indiana State and beating Western Michigan. But now comes October 21st.
Yep.
Homecoming in Muncie. Shoe's gonna be lit. And look, Jim McElwain. For some strange reason, I did receive his email to Central Michigan alums, even though I'm not an alum. Apologizing. I've never even been to Mount Pleasant ever in my life. But I did somehow get that in my. It slid into the DMs.
You're honorary alum.
And he apologized for the performance from a year ago, and he believes that they're a MAC champion potential this year. And hey. I listened to that email. All right.
He's a man of the people.
I kind of like Central Michigan's team this year, but it's homecoming. Give me Ball State to get it done, Patty C. What are you doing here? Fire up chips?
No. I mean, Central Michigan, cool team. I enjoy them, but we are riding Cardinals all the way here.
Alex, are we fools to be taking Ball State in Muncie at the shoe?
I have 3 words.
Fire up chips. Oh!
Central Michigan takes this one. They come into shoe and they win this one. This is, Central Michigan, they look so good towards the end of the season 2 years ago when they won the I believe it was the Sun Bowl. And then they just, a few things defensively they just couldn't figure out this last year. But they played a lot of close games a year ago. I think Central Michigan puts it all together. Coach McElwain, just if you ever get a chance to actually talk to him, do it. He's got so many incredible stories. The media day a few years ago, we talked to him. Unbelievable character. Just do it. Just get a chance to talk to him. Just listen to his stories.
Interesting.
I thought he got a raw deal at Florida. Personally,
Yep.
So
we didn't mention Florida at all. We talked about he's got a lake house out in Montana.
He's from Montana, I believe. Yeah, right.
From Missoula. Yeah.
Oh man, I've been to Missoula. Yeah. That's a beautiful, beautiful city. So you're backing your boy.
Fire up chips, man. Fire up chips. This is a Central Michigan dub.
This makes sense too. 17-16 a year ago. Yep. 17-16 a year ago. Ball State won.
Look, we're going back to Muncie though.
Oh man,
Going back to Muncie, but still, Ball State really, when you look at that game, they won it on a late field goal. It wasn't like they dominated and Central Michigan came back. No, it was a back and forth affair. Ball State had to kick the late field goal to win this thing. I mean, Daniel Richardson looked excellent in that game. Daniel Richardson looked great all year. Lou Nichols was a part of that offense, so I think you got to really take into the fact, again, this is where Ball State's going to have growing pains. Yes, they've got an experienced quarterback now, but they don't have any experience with their receivers. Other teams are going to use that to their advantage, especially on the defensive side.
So we only have, now we're all caught up.
Well,
we all have 3 wins.
Too. In terms of potential, differences from last year's game to this year's game, Ben Von Gunten, the kicker, was 17 of 21 last year for Ball State. Not there anymore. Not necessarily.
That is scary. A little scary.
Yeah, these close games, you need that guy.
Well, look. Next, they get a bye week, and then they head to the Doit to take on Bowling Green. I'm not that high on Bowling Green this year, and I think this is a winnable game. This is by the way, Maction Wednesdays, Tuesdays. This is a Wednesday game, nationally televised. I got them going into the Doit and getting the dub. Petty, see you.
For as much flack as we've given Scott Loeffler, I was impressed with what he did last year. So I'm not as sure, but I'm still on fade Loeffler, even with a good year last year. And I know you mentioned, Alex, that he walked into an impossible task, and maybe that's something I didn't take into account. But he was so bad for a couple years ago that it left an indelible mark in my head.
That was more of the jinx. The
jinx effect.
No pun
Mike
intended.
Jinx era.
Yeah. But I'm still leaning Ball State because they're my boys.
Yeah,
and I'm not a Loeffler believer.
taking Ball State. What are you doing here? Alex?
Oh, this one's tough. Bowling Green's also breaking in a new quarterback. They lost Matt Johnson after the end of last season. They actually lost him in the bowl game. But I believe the quarterback they got transferred in from Indiana, if I'm correct.
Yeah. But I've seen he's in like a battle, right?
He's in a battle with
Connor Bazelak. Yeah.
Yep. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who kind of takes the reins. I think Bazelak has the advantage overall, but I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see. Camden Orth is the guy he's battling with, and I got to see Camden Orth play in the Quick Lane Bowl this last year, come in cold to replace Matt Johnson, and he played pretty well. So I think this is going to be a close one. I'm going to give the edge to the home team. I'm going to give it to Bowling Green.
Oh man, we are now 1 game up on our forecast. Once again, all their away games are back to back. That is a little tricky. They go now to DeKalb.
We got three games left. What do we each have them at?
I got them at 4 wins, I believe. I got them at Bowling Green, Central Michigan.
3.
Yeah. So he's got him at 3. I got him at 4. You got him at 4.
I got him at 4. Yeah.
Now, this is another city that the people give me a 1-star review and say, "Hey, I couldn't pronounce DeKalb. I'm still confused by this. Anyway, Husky Stadium, Tuesday, November 7th. I think they lose this because this is like a tricky road trip. I feel like over the years, I know that. I don't know the NIU used to be really good. That's another MAC school we forgot about that when they had Jordan Lynch and everything. Like they used to be
2010s era.
Yeah,
4
Michael the Burner Turner.
Yeah, like unbelievable.
I still think it's a sneaky tough road trip. I think Ball State loses in this fine city north of Chicago. What are you doing here, Alex?
I'm actually going Ball State on this one. This is a rivalry game. This is the Battle of the Bronze Stalk. Ball State's won 3 out of the last 4, all 1-score games. NIU walked it off with a kick in 2021. I really think Ball State wins this again this year, but that's going to solely depend. And that's why I want to put this caveat there. This depends entirely on if Rocky Lombardi is at full strength for the Huskies. If he's at full strength, I think NIU wins it. If he's not, and if he's not playing or he's hurt like he was this last year, Ball State takes this one. So I'm going Ball State overall, though.
We're giving him a new name too, Stetson Lombardi, because I feel like he's been in college since
Michigan State. Yep,
since Vince Lombardi was coaching the Packers. What are you doing? What are you doing here, Patty C, at Husky Stadium?
Well, it's the second end of a back-to-back road. I kind of gave them one that they might not get, so I think I got to hand them the L here. And Tommy Hammock, I don't know, decent performer in my mind. It keeps a good team, a good enough team. They're not gonna win them all, so I'm gonna hand them an L here.
There we go. Okay, so we have the same record then. Still, now we're caught up again. but we have Saturday, November 18th. Kent State, the Golden Flash is coming to Schumann Stadium. Look, Kent State. I know they went out and got Kenneth Burns. Ken Burns. But I think it's a project. I think everyone dipped on that team. Ball State's winning this one, but I'm going to say Ball State's going to win this by double digits. Let's go. Alex, what are you doing here?
I have sources, we'll just leave it at that, who tell me Kent State might be lucky to win 2 games this year.
Yeah, I think they might be the worst team. I was trying to, we were talking about we did our Buffalo preview or whatever, and I was like, Kent State's going to be ass this year, I think. But hey, my hearts are with the Golden Flash fans out there. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning Ball State, and with that, I hit the over. I think you hit the over.
We all hit the over. We all hit the over. And then you want to talk about a bowl game? You want to talk about a little bowl game? I'm gonna call for a bowl game. They upset the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. Are going to be coming in red hot. I feel like people are going to say, hey, they might even have MAC championship implications on the line, even though I don't personally feel that way. They're going to beat Miami, Ohio at Schumann Stadium on November 25th. All right, after they get a nice Thanksgiving alone, watching Lion football, right? They're gonna sit there at the shoe, and they're gonna wait for the Redhawks to come in there, and they're gonna dominate them. And Chuck Martin, this loss might end the Chuck Martin era. I have nothing against Chuck Martin. I'm just saying.
I think Chuck Martin has time. I think he does. He's been in a couple MAC championship games. Brett Gabbert got hurt last year. They had to turn to a true freshman, and they still made a bowl game. And they were 4 yards away from winning that bowl game.
They shouldn't fire him, but I heard speculation a year or two ago that I thought he was going on the hot seat, but they shouldn't.
I don't think they should. I think he's done a nice job down there. I think Miami wins this game. Miami, assuming a full healthy Brett Gabbert, he went to the transfer portal, decided, you know what, I'm going to come back. I'm going to go finish what I started, try to win a championship with this team. He did it as a freshman.
Yeah.
That's Blaine's younger brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you doing, Patty C? What are you doing at the shoe?
They beat the Cardinals in Oxford last year by a point. The season.
I got Ball State back in that. What the hell's the name of that bowl again in the Bahamas? The Bahamas Bowl.
Bowl.
There we go. Yeah.
What's the one?
I feel like, what's it sponsored by? It's always like a. It's
been Maker's Mark. It's been a couple of different things, like Popeyes Bahamas Bowl one year, I think, when Central Michigan played Western Kentucky. So it's been
that game was
that
insane.
Classic game.
Yeah, that game was insane.
Well, every default bowl is the Chimichanga Bowl for Colby. So
yeah, I can't. It's too hard to keep track of it. But there's a new one this year too. I feel like that's a hilarious name. I can't remember.
The Pop-Tart Bowl.
Yeah, Pop-Tart Bowl. Patty C, what are you doing?
That's such an insult to have to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl. It's like
not until you get that sweet grab bag full of Pop-Tarts.
That's true. Then it pays off. Look, I think going back to Muncie this year, I'm a Ball State believer. They're going bowling. Again, Mike Neu had been bowling 2 of the previous 3 years prior to last year, barely missing it. They bounce back. They go bowling this year. 6-6, Ball State.
I think they go bowling. So you got 5-7, 6-6. Either way, we're on the over. Get on over there, Ball State fans. Let's go. It's at 4.5. That's money right there, folks. Make sure. Well, actually, wait, before we get out of here, I know we ran a little long. We're having so much fun. I want to talk. I had the opportunity to talk to College Football Campus Tour, AKA Michael Barker, about his travels. If you don't know this guy on Twitter, you need to, because he goes to like 7 million college football games a year. What did Biden say? 7 million trillion billion, right? Whatever that clip was on the internet. But look, this is about. I had a chance to talk to him about his experience at Schumann Stadium. So with no further ado, here's Michael Barker. Joining us on the College Football Experience Ball State Cardinal preview is Oh, this guy, legend in my mind. You might know him as College Football Campus Tour. I highly recommend that you follow that Twitter page at CFB Campus Tour. Give it up for Michael Barker. How you doing, Michael?
I'm great. Thank you for the kind words, Colby. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. And look, you are a legend of mine because like you're on the road nonstop. You hit like you've been to all 133 FBS college football stadiums and a lot of the FCS as well. And I highly recommend this Twitter follow because of what he puts out there. You know, like he'll take an awesome shot of the game from all these games, and he does like 5-6 games in a week. Tell me, obviously Schumann Stadium, Ball State's home stadium. What do you make of Schumann Stadium? And tell me about your experiences here catching those Tuesday, Wednesday MACtion games.
Yeah, and that's the cool part about it. So, some get lost in the shuffle with Power 5. We get to see the MAC nationally during the week for the entire month of November. So obviously Schumann Stadium, located in Muncie, Indiana, in the MAC, opened in 1967, 22,000 seat capacity. It's named after John and June Schumann, who are big donors. If you cut a big check, you get your name on the stadium. It's funny because David Letterman is probably the most famous alumni of Ball State. And when they were looking for a name for the stadium, he campaigned on a show. Campaigning doesn't win out over a big donation. So they ended up going with Schumann Stadium. But honestly, it's one of the coolest stadiums in the MAC. What I like most about it is in one of the end zones, there's a grassy hill, and behind it, there's these cool concrete pillars. It almost is like ancient Rome, Greece type feel. And then as far as my experience there, I went there in 2021 and saw a game.
Now, did you go on a Saturday or was it a Tuesday, Wednesday game?
Always on a Tuesday. So, from a traveler perspective, you want to save the Saturdays for schools, conferences that don't play on the weekday. So SEC, a Big Ten mostly. But I went on I want to say it was a Tuesday or Wednesday. It was in 2021. They played Central Michigan, and it rained like hell. It was November. I remember shooting a video of the flags on the roadside bleachers just going sideways. The rain was going sideways. Ball State lost 37-17. Lou Nichols, who was a great running back for Central Michigan, ran for 219 yards and 3 touchdowns. And me, yes, I'm a traveler. Yes, I go 5-6 games a week. I think at the time I was on the road for 12, 13 straight days. It rained, and I hid in the suites and decided not to brave the elements for one day. But it was a great experience. I visited the stadium on non-game days, and it's a beautiful place. And like I said, one of the top stadiums in all of the MAC.
Yeah, and look, I know you hit under a column or whatever it was, a press box, but one of the things I love about MACtion, and if you listen to the us over the years, I'm not a big fan of domes. To me, they have I've been to a lot of football games at domes, and they always feel kind of empty to me. What I love about MACtion, and yes, I love the fact Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I would actually urge them to do October and November, but they don't have any domes, and they're in all these crazy environments. Everyone that says they need a dome, look at Buffalo University outdoors. Look at the whole MAC, the entire MAC, and you can even say the Canadian Football League for the most part plays outdoors. So I would argue against ever having a dome because it's come on. I love the college football experience being out there in the elements, freezing your butt off. So I don't know if you got a take on that, but anyway, Schumann Stadium, I need to get there. I haven't been there. And I get it. If I was in the rain, perhaps I would be under the pillar, but still enjoying the game despite the crazy weather. So I got to get out to MACtion. And folks, you guys got to follow College Football Campus Tour here. Michael Barker, appreciate you coming on and talking about Schumann Stadium, Michael.
Absolutely. And we're on the same page with the domes. The November weather is amazing. You want to get out there. That particular night, I was freezing my butt off, but usually we're in the rain, sleet, snow, hail, all that. So hope you get out to Schumann soon.
There we go, folks. Yeah, if you're in the Indiana area, you got to get out there. What do you got going on? Get out to Schumann Stadium since 1963, I think he said. Folks, check him out on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. He has some of the greatest photos and greatest posts in like I said, one day he'll be in San Jose checking out the Spartans game in the Mountain West, and then like I feel like the next day he's in Bloomington or Muncie. So check him out, give him a follow. Michael Barker, appreciate you, and I got to get out to Schumann. I'm looking forward to getting out to Schumann.
Absolutely, thank you, Colby.
There we go, Michael Barker. And look, he's fantastic. He always does a great job. Folks, that's our show. We're running a little late, but that's what happens when we get excited and start talking Ball State football around a couple guys that are passionate about college football. So look, we're all on the over. I wanted to tell you, I want you guys to we got to hammer this one here. You need to go out and support Alex Scheer's podcast. And hammer the over. That's what we're really
hammer
saying.
The over always.
But also, come on, the host of the CSC podcast. You can find them on Twitter at College Sport Pod. In case you're not watching on YouTube, which I have the graphic up. It's all action all the time. What is not to love about that, Alex? I appreciate you so much coming on the show, man.
Hey, no, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you asking. Appreciate the chance to talk some action and chop it up. And man, I can't wait. I'm waiting all week for Tuesday night, boys.
Let's go. Let's go, folks. So give Alex Scheer a follow. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at Patty C831. Give myself a follow on Twitter at TheColbyD. Don't forget the College Football Experience is on Twitter at TheColbyD. And like I said, YouTube.com. That is the hub for all of our college experiences. Yes, YouTube.com/the college experience. But I also host the college basketball experience, which we do college basketball every single day of the college basketball season, and we talk it year round. Yes, I repeat, every single day of the college basketball season, me, Moneyline Mac, talking college basketball. We've been doing this shit for years. Patty C, NC Nick, everyone on there, and the college baseball experience. Right now, we got it going. The World Series, Omaha, the road to Omaha. Hop on over there. Check it out. The college baseball experience rolling. Get the SGPN app in the App Store and Google Play Store. And come talk college football with us in the Discord. We're always talking. Sometimes it's about New Mexico Highlands. Doesn't even matter. All right. Get on over there. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. And until next time, this is the college football experience. I can't even talk. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking at the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know